Hello everyone, hope all is well. The question I find that people ask themselves the most when it comes to a marriage is, how can you really track your progress? How can you tell that you're actually getting somewhere, that things are getting better as time goes on? And it's a hard question to answer. You're dealing with something which is organic, which is complicated, which has many different aspects to it. But maybe there is some sort of litmus test out there that you can actually use to figure out, am I making progress or not? And what I think, and I truly have seen it, is that I believe that there is. And I want to explain something which is, it's not funny, but it happens. What you often find is that when couples get married or at the beginning of their relationship, what happens like this is that there are points of tension, things that they argue about, things that create frustration. And what you may find is that a year into marriage, 5 years into marriage, 10 years into marriage, what happens is that these couples are still arguing about the same thing. They're still having the same argument in the same way, same triggers, and it's again, I don't mean to laugh, but it can be quite funny. It may look a little different every single time and a different manifestation, but that can often happen. And that's not a strange thing. And couples will often think it's a mistake that, because we're still having these arguments, that means that the relationship isn't growing. And I believe it's a mistake. And what I want to do is I want to give you what I think can be a different paradigm of how to look at your relationship, as far as in a way really which can allow you to track, am I making progress or not? Because I believe that there is a litmus test that you can use. Here's what happens a lot of times, okay? All of a sudden, you have this, let's call this point A, where what happens here? An argument happens. The couple has a fight about something, the couple has a disagreement about something, and it's a major problem. And it causes basically two individuals to go to their separate corners. And that could lead to just being passive aggressive with each other. That could lead to continuous rude comments. That could lead to who knows what. Everyone has their own way of how to express frustration and anger. And what happens is actually quite interesting, is that this can last, okay? This can last for, let's say, 1 hour, or this can even last, this is not to scale, okay? This can even last 3 days until all of a sudden what happens? The couple gets back together. And now they're back communicating, and now they're back to being on the same page, and now they are moving forwards. And that obviously, if there's a 3-day period of time, and I've seen longer, of where it can be that you have a couple that for 2 weeks at a time, they are living basically in the same house, sleeping in the same room, but basically they are in different corners because of an incident that happened here. And here is an amazing thing to look at when it comes to your relationship. The question is like this. Let's say you are a couple where an incident happens here, okay, point A, and all of a sudden, we'll call this point B. This takes now 3 days. Okay, so great. You got 3 days of when it takes you to get from point A of now being in that fight, whatever happens, and now this is back on the same page. Beautiful. Okay, obviously not good, but the question is like this. As these arguments come up again and again as you move through your relationship, the question is like this. Can you make the gap smaller here? Can it be that, to get to point B of us being on the same page, it no longer takes 3 days. What does it take? Let's go like this. It takes us 1 day. And therefore now point B is actually here. And therefore what used to be a 3-day gap of passive aggressive behavior, a 3-day gap of lots of frustration, only takes us a day to get back on the same page. Only takes us a day to say, I'm sorry, let's figure this out, let's work on it. And what you may find, hopefully, as your marriage moves along, is that what's going to happen is, this point is going to move closer and closer and closer, that therefore you're going to always move back in this direction right now. And therefore, even though you had the same argument in the initial stage of your marriage, you're going to find that now, that year 5, After you have that argument, that same argument you had when you were first married, it only takes you an hour to get back on the same page. It only takes you an hour to apologize. It only takes you an hour to say, I really want to talk about this. I didn't mean to do X, Y, and Z. And all of a sudden, if you see that gap of time get smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on, that is a clear indication that since you care about the relationship so much, since the relationship itself is so much more important than my own individual pain, than my own individual hurt, therefore I'm able to get out of myself faster, I'm able to get out of myself quicker, I'm able to choose closeness in the relationship. That's a real sign that, you know what? The marriage is progressing. Because hopefully as your love grows, as your relationship changes with time, you're going to be able to get outside of yourself so much more because you don't want to cause pain to the other person. Because you realize that, you know what, it takes two to tango, and I'm in a partnership here, and it's not just about me or you, it's about us together. And therefore, that's an amazing indication that you are making true progress in your relationship, that you are working things out. Now, just to get things clear here, okay? Being back on the same page, okay, and it doesn't mean that everything is, all done and we're gonna forget about that and, put it under the carpet, and that's often unhealthy. Getting back on the same page means that there was an argument and there was a difficult period of time. And now what happens is we get back together and we say, I'm really sorry. I know it's important that we speak about this. I just want to tell you I love you. So even though there's what to speak about and we have to go through and analyze what happened, we're back on the same page, we're in it together, and now we'll find the right time of when to have this conversation, which has to speak about, what's causing, this problem to keep happening. Getting back on the same page doesn't mean that everything is perfect and everything is awesome and everything is magical. We'll never talk about it again. Of course it will never happen. It'll probably happen again. And it may happen quite soon again. But if you look at that recovery time can be a clear indicator in your marriage as far as the kind of progress that you're making. And basically it's a litmus test to see, are we really heading in the right direction where we have a relationship that's getting stronger and stronger with time?